It started as a joke, but not the kind you laugh about at brunch and forget. It was the kind of joke you leave behind like a trap for someone who can't help themselves, someone who snoops. And this time, the bait wasn't a secret, or a diary, or even a locked drawer. It was a note, tucked behind a bottle in the medicine cabinet, scribbled on a Post-it in the back of a kitchen drawer, hidden between sweaters in the walk-in closet. Notes like, "My teeth will regrow. I am shark-like and powerful. I know when to spoon, but I also know when to fork. I am sexy and self-assured. I will not just sleep my way to the top of the company. I will sleep my way to the top of the world. I am beautiful, with clothes and without, especially without. My boobs are legendary." And they were left there, on purpose. Because I knew she'd find them. Because she always finds everything. Because she looks. Not by accident. Not out of kindness. She snoops. Let me explain. 7 years ago, I bought my house. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. Every corner, every drawer, every creaking floorboard, and thrifted piece of furniture. I built my world from the ground up, and I filled it with pieces of myself. 4 years ago, I met Al. Smart, kind, not flashy either. Quiet in the way that makes you feel safe. He moved in this year. We'd been talking about building a life together, not just dating anymore. This was it, the real thing. But if I'm honest, most of what's inside these walls is still mine. 95% of the furniture, the art, the vibe, the energy, my books, my candles, my weird sticky notes of self-talk. It's still my home. And then there's his mother. Let me be very clear. I don't hate her. I don't even dislike her. But I am deeply uncomfortable when she's around. Because every time she visits, she's not just dropping by. She's not just sipping tea in the living room. She's in my kitchen drawers, in my office, in my closet. Al calls it nervous energy. I call it invasion. She pokes around under the excuse of helping, like she's doing us a favor. But she doesn't ask. She doesn't knock. She wanders, and she looks. And then she comments. The first time, it was a yellow Post-it on my work monitor. Just a little affirmation my therapist had suggested I write down before a big interview. It read, "I am smart. I am skilled. I am deserving of great things." Simple, empowering, and very, very personal. She saw it, and she smirked, said something about my ego, laughed like she was joking, but lingered like she meant it. That moment stuck with me. Something about the way she dismissed something meant to help me stand up straighter, made me want to shrink. So I did what I always do when I'm pushed too far. I leaned into humor. I grabbed a bottle of wine and called my best friend. We sat on the floor with Sharpies and a stack of Post-it notes and turned my house into a landmine of hilarious affirmations. Each one weirder than the last. Each one hiding in plain sight. It started as therapy. It turned into comedy. And somewhere between our third glass of wine and the 12th Post-it, it became a message. If you're going to invade my privacy, then welcome to the funhouse. I knew she'd find them eventually, and sure enough, she did. She didn't say anything at first, but she started acting different, more cautious, more judgmental. Her eyes scanned the room longer. Her hands hovered over surfaces she used to dive into. Then one afternoon, I ran out for errands. When I got back, Al was quiet, too quiet. He sat me down and told me that while I was out, his mom had found some things. Notes, he said. She thought they were concerning. She told him I seemed unstable, egotistical, and that maybe, just maybe, moving in with me had been a mistake. She showed him the notes. He didn't know what to make of it. I told him the truth, that they were just silly affirmations, a private joke, a way to laugh and reclaim my space, a harmless thing. Unless someone had been, once again, snooping through parts of the house where they had no business being. He hesitated, said she was just tidying, said they were real weird. And then he asked me the question I knew was coming. Did you leave them out? On purpose? I didn't lie. I told him yes, that it was kind of a joke, that if she didn't want to find weird stuff, she shouldn't go through my private things, that this house is still mine, that I'm still me. And if I'm going to share this space and this life, I deserve boundaries. That's when his tone changed. He said I was making things hard for him, that I was antagonizing his mother, that she was just trying to adjust, and I was giving her the wrong impression, that he wanted her to see me as a good partner, not someone who leaves dirty jokes in drawers for her to find. And in that moment, I felt like I was on trial, not for being cruel, not for being careless, but for being myself. Funny, a little chaotic, deeply weird, vulnerable, protective of my space, someone who will take the high road until I'm backed into a corner. And the worst part? I was being told that by the man who is supposed to be building a life with me, the man who says he loves me, the man who, when faced with a mother who crosses boundaries and a partner who finally drew one, chose silence. So, am I the asshole? Was I wrong to defend my space through humor? Was I wrong to push back against someone who never asked permission? Was I wrong to expect the man I love to stand beside me instead of standing behind her? Because here's the truth. This isn't about post-it notes. It's about privacy. It's about consent. It's about being made to feel too much in your own home. And it's about the quiet grief of realizing that maybe, just maybe, the person you thought was your partner isn't ready to choose you over what's comfortable. So, I ask you again, am I the asshole? Because if I am, then maybe I'm okay with that. At least I'm a shark-like, powerful, legendary boob-having asshole with a sense of humor and a spine. And that's more than I can say for some. Wow, this story hit different. Not just because it's hilarious, though let's be honest, my teeth will regrow. I am shark-like and powerful might be the greatest affirmation ever written. But because underneath the laughter, there's something real, something painful, something many of us have felt. It's about what happens when you make room for someone in your life, in your home, and they bring their past with them, their family, their patterns, their silence. It's about how privacy isn't just about secrets. It's about dignity. And it's about how women, especially women in relationships with so-called mama's boys, are often expected to bend, to shrink, to smooth things over, just so someone else's mother doesn't feel uncomfortable. But here's the thing. Boundaries aren't rude. They're respect for yourself, for your relationship, for your sanity. This wasn't an act of cruelty. It was an act of self-defense with a punchline. And if humor is the last tool you have before you scream, then write the damn post-it. Here's our question for you. Have you ever been punished for protecting your space? For being too much when someone else was just helping? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, if someone's going to open a drawer that isn't theirs, they better be prepared to meet the shark inside. Thanks for listening. This has been AITA Story Vault.